What is good? What is good? So we're gonna do some post fight talking like we said we were gonna do. So before
That's
we get
right.
into the main event, you know, some of them undercards really didn't draw the attention to me that I would have liked. However, Rolly and Issa Cruz, what did you think about that fight? Now,
I
and
think Rolly.
I told you Rolly was gonna brawl. It's not in his nature to just sit back and work jabs and be strategic. Yeah, and box. It's not in
You
his.
know, and there's an old saying that goes in boxing that goes, if you don't have to win, you won't get the win. And it
Yeah.
appears that Roy Romero did not have the win to actually survive the rounds of that fight. It appears that he did not train to survive to go the distance of that fight. It appears that he did not mentally focus on being a better boxer, using his boxing IQ, or working his jab and working to the right. It appears that, and to be honest with you, it appears that Rolly Romano has given up. Even after
Um.
fights, he had nothing else to say. He has given up, being that he trained. He changed gym. He changed trainer, and regardless of all the changing that he did, it didn't. He didn't change his chin. He didn't change his win.
Yeah, but I don't. I think though, what Rolly is, where I think a lot of people were fooled from him is because I just don't think that Rolly was ever that good. Which is why I thought that he definitely wanted that fight with Garcia. He definitely wanted that fight because it would have been a bigger payday. I don't. There's not a lot left for um, for Rolly at
Rolly.
this point. Excuse me. There's not much left for him at this point. I think that you lose the Tank, then you lose to another fighter who lost the Tank. So you lost to a tier 2 fighter. You lost to a tier 1 fighter in Tank, and now you lose to a tier 2 fighter in Cruz. I don't know. He probably has one more shot at a competitive fight before he starts turning into either a gatekeeper or he turns into just a washed fighter. And I think it's going to probably be that he's just a washed fighter. I don't think that he's good as people anticipated him to
It's
be.
fair enough to say he's a wash fighter. It's over for him. There's nothing that you can do with a fighter that has given up on himself. So you cannot actually promote or encourage a fighter who doesn't believe in himself. And I think he's going through a moment of humiliation, being that he's getting knocked out during sparring sessions and it's publicized and all throughout YouTube and social media. It's over for him. He knows it. His best thing that he should have done, if he would have listened, is work the jab, roll to the right. Work to the jab, roll to the right. He did no boxing. He was
Yeah,
slugging with a slugger, which was his biggest mistake. He was slugging with a slugger, and if you look at it, he didn't want to prove anything. It was all about pure entertainment. It
no,
wasn't about empowering himself
I
or
think
making
you're
himself
wrong.
better.
I
It
think
was just to
that
sell a fight, to be honest with you.
nah. I think what happened is I think Cruz did exactly what his nickname and hinted to. He was a pit bull. He moved forward. He kept his hands up. When he got in his range, he was throwing right hooks, left hooks, and he was just attacking. He put so much
I mean,
pressure. But hold on, he put so much pressure over on Rolly. Rolly was trying to run around the ring. Rolly ran a lot of that fight to the point where he was getting booed for running around the ring.
mhm.
And I think that he tried to dance around, but I think the pressure that Cruz put on him, he just couldn't handle it.
It is. I don't think it's also the pressure of the fighter. It's the pressure of the crowd of the arena. You had a lot of Mexican fans there to cheer on Cruz, and the awesomeness of Floyd Mayweather. He didn't care about the damn fans. He didn't care about their booze. The only thing he cared about was what? The win.
Yeah,
That's when when you conform to the fans to fight the fighter that they like style, you will lose. But if you block out the fans and you say F them, I'm fighting my style, sticking to my plan, and then you will win. He did not stick to his plan. He did not stick to his style. And because of that, he listened to the audience, listened to the fans. He even listened to the ref. And he didn't and he lost the fight.
nah.
The
See,
difference?
where I disagree because I think that
Mhm.
early off, when he felt Cruz's power, early off he started to hold and he started to dance around the ring. He tried to throw his punches and dance, but he was only being able to dance for so long because
But
Cruz was marching forward and being the aggressor. I don't know that it was much. I don't know if it was much that Rolly could have done being on his skill level, on the skill level that he is as a fighter. And again, I think
what
that
takes
people.
away
Go
what
ahead.
takes away a great punch? What takes away a great punch is a great jab. What takes away a great punch is a great jab. What
He was
takes away
getting
a great
countered.
puncher is
He was getting countered,
great footwork. The
but
only thing he had to do is
Rolly
do what
was
Jermaine
getting
Ortiz do what
Rolly was
Jermaine
getting
Ortiz.
countered the whole fight. He couldn't.
I know
There
because
wasn't
you
much
know
he
why
could
he was
do.
getting countered? Because he was fighting Pitbull Cruz fight. When you fight a slugger's fight, and you know that, then you will wind up ending like all Mike Tyson opponents. But if you're like Riddick Blow, if you're like Lennox Lewis, and you decide I'm gonna use my jab and I'm gonna take away that distance, I'm gonna give you another prime example. I remember David Tua. David Tua was a Samoan fighter who was good and he was
Yeah, they called him Baby
excellent
Tyson.
until he ran across who? Lennox Lewis. And what did Lennox Lewis do? He took away that left. Once he took away that left, he had nothing. And I'm gonna give you another example. When Tank Davis fought him, Tank Davis, what did he do? Because he only had one hand, he jabbed and moved. He jabbed, peppered him, moved. Jabbed, peppered him, and moved, and rolled to the right. He did that all fight because he only had one hand. That right there was the blueprint of beating Pitbull Cruz. But unfortunately, if you don't have the mental strength, you won't have the physical strength. So I would say that uh, Rolly lost this fight before he even stepped into the ring.
No, I mean, well, again,
I
I
think he had
didn't
a
think
defeated
that.
mentality.
I don't think that he had. Again, I don't think he had the skill to beat Cruz. And again,
And
when you look,
sometimes you don't have, Mike. If you sometimes you don't have the skill, you don't have to have the skill. You can have the will. Sometimes will override skill at times. I mean, I remember when George Foreman fought Ali. Ali didn't have the skill to beat Foreman, but he had the will, and that will kicked in the eighth round. That's all it
yeah,
takes. So, like when when the Cleveland Cavaliers was down 3-1 against Golden State Warriors, but still,
but
because Golden State
the
Warriors was a more skilled team, but they
the
had the
difference though,
will,
is you're
and they
talking
kicked
about
in.
George Foreman. You're talking about one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
but we watched Rolly. That's the difference. Rolly's not that
And,
good.
no,
Rolly
and
is
the
not that
difference is
good. Rolly will, when it's
uh,
all said and done, Rolly will be looked at as a C-level fighter at best. At best.
Rolly, and the only reason why Rolly had lost because he didn't have the will to win. He didn't
Nah,
need the skill to win. He
Rolly
didn't have
fought
the
his
will to win. If you watch the post,
Rolly fought his fight, and it didn't work. His game plan didn't work. You wanted to
he
slug
didn't
it
have a game
out
plan.
with a slugger. He
Well,
wanted to go. He said before this fight, he said that he was going to get a knockout. That's what his prediction of this fight was. He wasn't trying to box. That's not his style. He's a fighter, and I think that it backfired. When you got somebody who marches forward,
I think
hits hard, and lets their hands go. That's not Rolly. Rolly can't do much about that. He's not a great defender. Rolly's not
I think what
that
it
good
is
of a
that
boxer. I'm telling you.
Rolly prior to the fight, Rolly didn't look good. After the fight, during the fight, Rolly didn't look good. Rolly switched, like I said, he changed gym, he changed trainers because he knew, like I said, if you possess a great punch, you must possess a great chin. He didn't have the chin, and you can't
So
change that, regardless how many trainers you go through, regardless how many gyms you go through. But what you can change is your will to win, and with that will, you can try to adopt other skillful tactics that can actually avoid you from getting hit from power shot. That's what
so
you can change. But if you
so
don't have
what's
the will to win, you know what I'm saying, you will always lose.
so what do you think is next? So you don't think is you think that he still has a chance to become
No,
great?
I think it's over. He's over like Charles Barkley never win the championship. He's over like some of these great fighters that were great for a moment and they're gone. He's a moment fighter because he lost his will to win. So I don't care how many skills you have. If you don't have the will to win, it's over, regardless of the skills you have.
So what do you think? Um, so who do you think he should fight next then? I mean, because he's not done.
To be
He's
honest with
not going
you,
to just quit.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you in all truth and honesty. He shouldn't fight at all. He shouldn't fight at all. He shouldn't fight at all. He doesn't, even after getting beat down, even after losing the fight, he still looked like he was confused. And uh, he said he didn't want to be the villain and he didn't want to do this. It's over. His best thing is to become a trainer, a promoter, a mentor, a teacher
Mentor. He
in
ain't
the
gonna be
art of
doing any of
boxing.
those things.
No, because it's over. The glass, you know what I'm saying? The glass is broken. Everybody have
So
seen that. The glass is broken, and you can't put it back together. Once you break the jaw, it's over. He doesn't have the boxing IQ to use other things in his repertoire, or he would already use it. He doesn't have the will to win anymore. Without
so
his, I mean, some people have skill, but I'm gonna there's some good fighters. Once their skill is gone, they're gone. They don't have the boxing IQ to continue on fighting. But
so let
there's
me ask you.
the great fighters.
Let me ask you. Let me
When
ask
their
you.
skill is gone, they still have the will, and that will can will them to a winning percentage. Go ahead.
So what did you like most about Issa Cruz in this fight?
Issa Cruz, I love his determination. I love the way he came back. He has zero defensive skills. He's a target
No,
practice, but
he has that Mexican
you
style of
know,
fighting where
yeah,
he's
he had
gonna
a
move
mental flat footed.
forward.
I mean,
Yeah, he's
I
gonna
would
move
say
forward
that yeah,
and throw his
in order
punches.
to go to the level of fighters that he's trying to fight, he was calling out Tank Davis, Haney, um, Teofimo Lopez. He was calling these guys out.
Yeah.
He's not ready for them. He's not ready for
Oh,
them because he's not. I'm just being honest with you. He already lost against Tank with one hand. He's not
right.
ready for them.
But you know,
Haney, go ahead.
Tank was that was one of Tank's hardest opponents that he's faced, if not the hardest opponent that he faced. So I don't know if it's that he's not ready. Like I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
if he puts the pressure like he did on Devin Haney. I don't know. I don't think that'll be a walk in the park for Haney. You know.
I would never say it'd be a walk in the park. I would never say that. I give Pitbull Cruz more credit than that. But I will say that this here, being that he has no defense, it would be what you call an Olympic style fight where Haney will showcase his skills and his boxing IQ. You have to do more when you're fighting a boxer. When a boxer fights a slugger, and a boxer has so many different arsenals within his repertoire, you can't. He can adjust. Pitbull Cruz just come forward. Now, what
Yeah.
if understand the length of Haney. Understand the length of Haney. We just saw in his previous fight he dropped.
Haney's been hurt though. Haney has
I
been
know,
hurt
but
before.
Haney has just dropped that one dude, and he said it in his press conference. That motherfucker hits hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Haney that we saw at 135 is a different Haney at 140, and it's a bigger Haney and a stronger Haney, and that
Yeah.
Haney is bigger than Rolly. He's bigger and stronger than Rolly. He has his boxing IQ is up there. And let's say Teofimo Lopez. I believe honestly, Teofimo Lopez would dog walk Pitbull Cruz easily because his boxing IQ is up there.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that Teofimo can win that fight, but I don't think it's a clear win. But I don't know who he has up next. If one of those dudes should be on the plate, I would think Lopez, Haney, anybody at that that 140. I would really like to see. But main event, which was a huge disappointment. I mean, a disappointment meaning he got injured with an elbow that changed the whole complexion of this fight. He couldn't. Once Tim Tszyu took that elbow to the head, his vision was gone. It was like I predicted earlier. He was going to check his chin early, and then and run through him, and that's what was supposed to happen in that fight.
But one thing that I predict, I told you, I can't hear you
because he couldn't see.
No, but didn't I tell you that Fundora was going to fight tall?
Right, because he couldn't see. Because Tszyu couldn't see. He had it. The jab was going so easy for him at that point.
But whose fault was it that Tszyu ran into his forearm?
I mean, regardless of however you want to call it, however you want to call it, I'm saying it wasn't a punch. So being that it wasn't a punch, if it wasn't a punch to me, then it turns to BS because it was inadvertent. Now it's a cut because Fundora's blood out his nose and mouth came from him getting punched in the nose and the mouth. That's a huge difference for me than an accidental injury that now changes the whole fight. If it was like I said, if it was a punch that busted him open and then he went on to dominate, that's one thing. But I feel like he was on his way to getting worked. And Tszyu has to get a rematch for this. You have to get this man a rematch.
I say this here. Excuse, like I tell my children, excuses are monuments of nothingness. Here we go. Excuses are monuments of nothingness. You cannot give that man an excuse. If you have to like Fundora father said, we've been bleeding all our life. This is boxing. This is a brutal sport.
Again,
this is what we come here to do. So when you get injured and accidentally, hold on, I gave you your soapbox period. When you get injured, you have to fight through the blood. You have to fight through the pain. You have to fight through all the adversities that you go through while boxing. And if you can't do that, you shouldn't be boxing. So we cannot give him an excuse. Because you know why? No one told him, wait. It was his mistake for lunging in with his head down, fighting a fighter who is 6'5", you're 5'7", and you run into his forearm. Something that is not even heard of. And when I saw it replay, Tszyu just ran into his forearm itself. It wasn't like as if Fundora was throwing his forearm at him. So with that being said, that was him fighting wild, undisciplined, not understanding that, understanding his opponent.
That's just crazy. That is just ridiculous talk. That is just ridiculous talk. Inadvertent elbow, which leads to tons of blood coming out this man's eyes. It's not the fact that he didn't give up. He continued to fight. It's just his vision was impaired. That's all it was. And that changed the fight. Now that he couldn't see, he couldn't throw the punches that he wanted to. He couldn't land the punches that he wanted to.
When you get hit in the mouth and you get hit in the nose and you're bleeding profusely in the mouth and the nose, you got hit. Yeah. Blood.
And that's the thing. You got hit in the mouth and you got hit.
But the whole thing is you fight through it.
And he fought through it. You just can't see. His cut man. They should have stopped the fight is what they should have stopped it early off, because the cut was way too big and way too deep, and they couldn't stop the bleeding. And after you can't stop the bleeding, then it's just a disadvantage at this point, because now it's a handicap, because now it's just getting into your eyes and you can't see. So it's not as
but the rest asked them to stop it. The rest asked them want to. I mean,
yeah. I'm not saying he should have quit. The doctor should have stopped. No, the doctor should have stopped that fight. You can't. They couldn't stop the blood. Dude had a pound of Vaseline just slabbed on his head to try to prevent that blood. You just couldn't stop it. The doctor should have stopped that fight.
Right. The reason why the time period when they wanted to stop it, he didn't want to stop it because he wasn't for sure that he was ahead on the card. Because if they would have stopped that fight, they'd have went to the cards, and it could have been possible.
No, it should have been stopped before the fourth round. It should. The doctor after 2 rounds of the blood just pouring out of his face, and they can't stop it. Then the doctor should have stopped the fight. You can't control the cut.
Right. I think they allowed them. I think they should have stopped it around the 4th round, 4th to 5th round. But
if you can't stop the blood.
Is this the first fight that we've seen where people were bleeding profusely?
No. But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Fundora did exactly what he was supposed to do. The minute blood in the water, you attack. It don't matter how it occurred. If they continue to fight, then you go on the attack. I'm not knocking Fundora from doing what he needed to do to win that fight. But I still think after a couple rounds, with the amount of blood that's coming out and the location of where the cut was, I kind of think the doctor should have just stopped that. That gash was huge, man. It was huge.
It was just bleeding.
And they couldn't stop the whole fight. They couldn't stop it.
I was kind of shocked that he didn't lose conscious with all the amount of blood that he lost. I was like, man, you're bleeding like you was in a car accident.
No, it looked like a scene of Law and Order SVU is what it looked like.
Right, and then after the fight, somebody who was in 2 car accident in a Lamborghini and a Terrence Crawford got into the ring, and that's the challenge.
Dude, but I don't even know what challenge. Errol should have sat down. Right, I'm like, he's still dizzy from that Crawford fight. He need to sit down.
Right, I mean, come on now. This boy is 6'5". I'll say this young man is 6'5". I mean, his reach is out of this world. He has his left hand. It's so heavy. I see Errol Spence taking a straight up beat down again.
Now I don't know from him. I'm not Fundora. I'm really not confident in his abilities, if I'm being totally honest. Like you said, a man was 5'7", if that's Tszyu's height. He was getting on the inside, and before the elbow, he was getting on the inside doing exactly what he wanted to do. He was jabbing and hitting Fundora with punches. So I don't have much confidence that if, for one, I don't have confidence that Fundora can beat Errol Spence. And 2, I don't even have confidence that if they were to rematch, I think Tszyu would win easily in a rematch. And
I was kind of disappointed in Tszyu and his response after the press conference. I was kind of disappointed. I mean, I know that you don't want to make excuses for how the fight turned out, but bro, you got sliced on the top of your head.
Yeah, you should demand a rematch.
Say something. Promote the next fight. Say, hey, man, I'm mad. I'm mad as hell. Say, let's go next time. Don't sit there. Oh, let's move on to the next. Terrence Crawford, anybody, Errol Spence, anybody want to fight me? I'm a good slugger. So no, to me that's a defeatist mentality, and it appears that he's given up already.
He need to redeem that. He need to redeem that.
Yes.
That L.
Yes.
For sure, he needs to redeem that L.
And see, and that's the difference between if that was somebody like Telefimo, that's coming out of Telefimo's mouth. Hey man, he would never whip me he would never beat me if I'd had this damn big ass slash on top of my head. I guarantee you, give me another chance. Am I wrong? That sounds just like him, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
He know he can't whoop me.
I don't know. I think that Tszyu is a little bit more humble and than your average fighter. He's not
You
that
know what?
loud of a.
That humbleness doesn't to me. There's a place and time for being humble. There's a place and time for being humble. When you are fighting for your livelihood, you are fighting for your future. Humbleness is not the time.
I
Now
mean,
is the time to fight. I
I,
mean, now is the time and it's part of marketing too. You need to promote yourself. When you show your fans, the people who believe in you, that you feel that you still can win, that motivate us to subscribe and pay for another pay-per-view channel. But if you show us that you're not willing to fight for yourself and you're not willing to speak up for yourself, and therefore, in turn, you were speaking up for us because we're your fan, automatically we tune you out and we abandon you. So that humbleness can
no,
actually kill your your
I
fan
will
base.
agree with you on that. Like he should definitely be trying to sell himself for the next fight because
Very much so.
yeah, I think that he should have been preaching rematch, rematch, rematch because
Very
I
much
want to
so.
see a rematch from a boxing fan. I want to see a straight up fight between you two without the slice to the forehead or to the top of the head.
Right, and I said when you give up, when you give up, your fans give up on you. And I give him, I give him the benefit of the doubt that he has a brave heart. He fought all 12 rounds, but during the press conference, you automatically just conform. Oh, whoever next, da 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 da. Hey, I can't make it. No, you make an excuse, bro. You got a freaking cut on your head. Errol Spence, bro, listen, man. You got slung out the goddamn Lamborghini and let her on the goddamn ground. Your whole
Come
face
on,
getting
man.
work. You make an
Come
excuse.
on.
Just fucking talk. Be real. Stop lying, like, dude. Like, why did that girl beat your ass, Linda? Oh, because well, I just gave birth like 2 hours ago, but that ain't no excuse. Yes, it is. You just gave birth to a whole life. What are you talking about?
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I
But to me,
understand though.
that's what I'm saying. That humbleness has its place, and sometimes people choose the wrong time to be humble when they should be choosing the right time to fight. That's the difference between will and skills. Will say that, you know what? The intelligent thing is to say, hey, I got a cut on my head. The intelligent to say, hey, I got slung out of a damn car. My whole face got restructured. The intelligent thing to say, hey, you know what? Give me another chance. Give me another opportunity. And I guarantee you that I would take that 6'5" and bury him 7'5" deep into that goddamn ring. That's what he should
Yeah.
have said.
And we'll see though. Like I don't know what's next for him. I'd like to see the rematch, but I think even with this loss, I still think that it didn't hurt. It's not gonna hurt, Zoo's career.
But
You know,
I want to counter what you said, that if only the blood, if he didn't have the blood, I don't think even if he did have a cut, I think Fundora's his decision to fight tall, like his sister said, and to jab. His sister said the plan was to fight tall and jab. I told you in our last podcast that Fundora thing is as long as he fight tall and jab, he should put on a nice beating of Tszyu. It wasn't
hey,
a
no, hey, wait,
one-sided
not to
beating.
cut you off, because you know what you did say, if I'm not mistaken. You said it was gonna be a bloody mess. You said it was,
Yeah, I did.
and yeah, but you were wrong and right at the same time. I will give you that because it was a bloody mess. It was a bloody mess. You were 100% right on that. You were 100%
Right,
on that.
right.
It
But did he
just
fight
didn't
tall
go
like I
down.
told you?
I mean, he
Did he
fought
fight tall
tall.
like I told you?
He fought
And
tall.
hold on.
Hold on. He fought tall
Mhm.
after he got cut. After Tszyu got cut. Before that, when he was trying to fight tall, he was getting countered. His head was getting snapped back with punches. It was not looking good for him. It was not
And
looking good for him.
I honestly think that before, and that's where the lunging. When you're dealing with a taller fighter, you have to lunge to get the opportunity, and that's what Tim Tszyu did. He lunged. lunge, when you lunge, you set yourself up for a mistake to happen. It's automatically
Only
headbutts,
only
whatever.
only mistake that happened, yep, was a cut to the top of the head.
Yeah,
That's
from
the only
lunging.
mistake. He had that fight in complete control. I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
But he had the fight complete control. I give you that. But to me, he just, I mean, at the first 1 and 2 rounds, but after the second
Right.
round, um, Fundora was fighting tall, and he'll pepper spray him with that left. Those lefts was hard. Those
Yeah. It
lefts
was
was
just,
rocking him
but it was just too much blood. It was just too much blood that couldn't get
for both
controlled.
fighters. For both
Well,
fighters, I would say too.
I mean, I think that the only problem was Zoo's vision. He couldn't see. Like I said, that was his only issue. I think that he had the heart, even not being able to see. He was throwing punches. He was missing on punches that he would typically hit, and through it all, he still had the higher percentage of punches landed,
But hold
even
on,
through it
this is
all.
another testament. This is another testament that the blood had nothing to do with the fight
Oh, it did.
because Tim Zoo. Hold on. Tim Zoo did not call for a rematch. He didn't call for
No,
a rematch at all. If hold on, if he thought that the blood was 100% the reason why he lost the fight, he would have called for a rematch immediately. But being that he knew that fighting a tall 6'5" fighter, trying to get up in there and making himself vulnerable to that left jab or that left punch or that left the right hook, those punches hurts. We did see the toll on them. So just by Tim Zoo not calling for a rematch was a testament that he knew that he wasn't ready to fight.
I'll
That he
tell you
knew that he
this.
can't beat this guy.
I'll tell you this. I can almost guarantee you. I'm going to say now, if Fundora fights any quality fighter, he's losing. I'm saying it
So
right
you think
now.
he's
He's
gonna
losing.
he agreed to fight Errol Spence. You think he gonna lose against Errol
He will
Spence?
lose to Earl Spence. He will lose to
Okay.
Earl Spence.
Okay, Earl. I'm just telling you this.
Fundura's not that good. And if
Errol
we got
Spence
a
is gonna.
and we got a healthy, uninjured Earl Spence, yes, he will. I think he can beat Fundora.
Isn't it odd that Errol Spence chose to jump in the ring to fight Fundora, but he didn't? He wouldn't choose to jump in the ring to fight Terrence Crawford again.
Of course not. I would fight Fundora before I would fight Bud. Are you crazy? Yeah, yeah. Let me pick this dude.
Like shit,
But
I
yeah,
can fight him, but the other dude.
but I don't. And also though, even with Earl though, if Earl don't apply any pressure to Fundora, he'll lose that fight. If he just sits there trying to work the jab with Fundora, like Fundora's 6'5". Like and
But remember, Earl can't because Earl is his face is injury prone now. We know that he had plastic surgery due to the what's name. His eye got worked on,
well,
but
that's why I said if he's healthy.
If Earl still fight Mexican style, he's going to lose that damn fight. If Earl adopts a boxing IQ and start boxing and jabbing, learning how to slide in, slide out, the whole 9 yards, he can possibly win. But if he goes in there with the flat-footed Mexican style of boxing, knowing that how Fundora hits, he becomes a punching bag and he leaves himself vulnerable to more cuts and more bruises and possibly another left eye retina surgery.
Yeah, I mean, not from. I don't think Fundora's punches like, and that's the
Uh,
thing. Now hold on. Just think of it like this. Fundora had a man who was pretty much blinded the entire fight. After like the second round, he's blinded the entire fight. He couldn't. He wasn't punishing him. He wasn't landing big punches. He had this little weak jab that he worked the entire fight that did no damage to Tim Tszyu.
hey,
He
and do you
just took
notice this too?
advantage of a situation.
Do you notice this too that when Earl Spence jumped into the ring, he didn't. Katsu asked to fight him. He was like, "Nah, bro, I ain't fighting you, bro. I already know that you can fight." We're gonna fight
Well,
this dude. I know if
yeah,
you'd have the cut that you could,
yeah.
he
But
automatically like that's the opportunity.
no, yeah. And I think I still tilt my hat to Fundora because like I said, he took advantage of a situation, regardless how it occurred. He got cut. You jumped on the situation as he should have. I
He
just
seized the
think that,
moment.
like you said, I'm just a little disappointed that Tszyu didn't demand a rematch. And I think that he has to rematch this man. You got to avenge the one loss you took from this dude. You have to avenge that loss. And I think that I still think it's an easy win for him. But I just don't know if maybe in his eyes he's thinking that people don't want to see that fight.
I don't think it's more so that. I think within if you're in the ring, you have a more advantage standpoint. He knew how difficult it was to fight a 6'5" fighter. He knew how difficult it was to fight with somebody with a giraffe, with with the reach of a giraffe. He knew how difficult it was. Yeah, you may be a lion, you may try to jump on me, but if I kick your ass, if I kick you, I can really injure you. So he understood that. That's why Tim Tszyu wasn't trying to do a rematch because it was a difficult fight that took a lot of mental toll on him, and physical. I mean, because Fedora was hitting him really hard, so we're not
I
in that
don't.
ring getting hit.
Fundora don't hit
Right?
hard, man. I'm
Yes, he
telling
does.
you, Fundora does. Dude,
Yes,
he
he
was
does.
blinded the whole fight. You can't
Fedora
stop
remind
this
me of,
man.
of Hearns.
Listen to this though. Seriously, you can't stop a man who has like a 4-inch gash on the top of his head, bleeding profusely to where he can't see. You can't finish him. At what point did he even rock Tszyu through that fight?
Several times.
Not rocked. He did not
Several
have
times.
Tszyu. He did not have Tszyu hurt that entire fight, dude. Stop it.
I don't know about that. Yes, he did.
Zip,
Yes, he did.
Go
Yes, he did.
rewatch it tomorrow. He did
He
not
had
hurt
Drew hurt.
him the entire fight.
Yes, he
He,
did. Everybody, that's all the people that's in this chat that's watching it. Comment. He hurt him several times during that fight. If you didn't watch that, you was watching with blinders,
no,
and
you
where
had
you were
him.
just seeing what
You
Tim Drew was
had on them
doing. He
damn
was
sunglasses
hurting
in the house, and you couldn't see properly. You know what I'm saying? He lost that fight,
Listen,
man. Hey, hit the like button while y'all at
no,
it. I'm
yeah,
telling
exactly.
you, it just
No, no.
he did not
See,
have the power.
we see
You had a
things.
crippled man. You had 10 rounds fighting a crippled man who was visually impaired. Bleeding the whole. Dude, it was so much blood each round coming from his forehead that, like you said, I don't even know how he had enough blood to continue to fight. And you can't knock him out. You can't hurt him. You can't knock him down.
The reason
Inexcusable.
why. Listen, I've seen fighters fight through the blood. I've seen fighters fight through the pain. That's just pure will. But in regard to skill, he understood that he did not have the skill to actually beat this man. This man was on it. Just being that he's 6'5", Mike. That's like me over there. You know what? I'm gonna go up to Shaquille O'Neal. I'm gonna hit him in the chest. Negro, I only go to his fucking waist. I can only hit to his waist because he's so goddamn tall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So and
but
if you look at the replays, he was
if
doing
Shaquille
uppercuts. He
O'Neal
was doing uppercuts. Hold on,
if
he was doing
Shaquille
uppercuts below the waist. The ref never said all the uppercut that Tszyu was doing below the waist. The ref didn't say anything because you know why? He couldn't hit that high because this dude is so damn tall. See, we see it as something simple. It is such a mathematical problem when you're sitting there trying to calculate how to fight somebody that's 6'5". How many fighters do you have? And you only have 12 days to do
now
it. How many
hey
fighters do
now
we know that are six
I
foot five?
I will say that was a disadvantage for Tszyu to where you only got 12-day
Yeah.
prep to fight a dude that's 6'5". Then that couldn't be easy. But again, I don't think that any of that would have been a factor if not for the inadvertent elbow to the head. I don't think any of
I
that
don't
would have
think
been a
that.
factor. He
I
tested
believe
his chin
that.
early, and he had that man beat.
Okay.
I'm telling you, he had that man beat.
I don't care if he would have had he had the. You could get a good couple punches in the beginning. I've seen that several times in boxing, where somebody get hit the first round or the second round, and that's major. But when we go talk about the deep rounds, once the fighters start to adjust and figure out, okay, I took that punch, all right, I think I got you. All I
Not
got
in
to
this
do is just
case.
jab, jab, jab. I make the adjustments. I believe that if he didn't get cut, the decision would have still been the decision. And the reason why, because Fundora is a more difficult fighter than he looks. The reason why, because he only had 12 days to fight a 6'5" fighter. You only have 12 days, and you were mentally preparing to fight. What was the fighter that dropped out? The 35-year-old.
Uh, Light skin. Um,
Like, yeah, from Florida.
yeah, I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah. So
Um,
you're prepared to fight that fighter,
but
and then now you have to switch it up,
hold on,
right?
hold on, Tony. I'm just reading the comments here from. This is Tony Squabbles. He says, "Bruh, that mathematical bullshit though. Tszyu was touching the hell out of that 6 foot chin in every single round. Fundora ate all that. Drank a gallon of blood. Exactly, Tony. Exactly. He was getting
Tony, and
touched.
he
The
drunk a gallon of blood. You know what? And he spit it on the top of a Costa head, right? And then
nah, but I'm telling you,
and he pepper sprayed him with
I,
left punches. I mean, all day, and to a point where that he was stagnant, and he lost several rounds because the only thing, like I told you, when you're a tall fighter and you have the reach and the length, the only thing you have to do is work your jab and fight tall. And that's what he did. No, he didn't do it in the first round or the second round, but he made the adjustment like any fighter do. If you're a
Fundora
fighter, you
had
know to make the adjustment. Hold
Fundora
on.
had
He
the
didn't.
luck of the Irish. He had the luck of the Irish behind him because he had a horseshoe, whatever luck that was given to him. He took it because again, he had that fight won. I'm telling you, there was even still moments during that fight, even through all the blood, where he was still getting touched. It's just that his vision was impaired. That's the only reason why.
Listen.
The only
There's some
reason.
accountability had to be on Tim Tszyu. Accountability had to fall somewhere. You just don't. You can't just if you do wild stuff happens. When you just lunge up in there towards the end of a round, and we're not talking about the middle of the round, you just lunge up in there, you might run to someone's forearm, not the elbow, the freaking forearm. Who
I
gets
think that.
splits by a forearm? Yes, it was a forearm.
Yeah.
It wasn't his elbow.
Well, regardless,
I mean, how? What the chance that
injury is
happened? Well, who
injury.
started that?
An injury is an
You can't.
injury. It was
Right,
inadvertent. It was inadvertent.
right,
It was no one's fault. But all I'm saying is
right.
because of that is what led to Tszyu losing that fight. I don't even know how you can't even see
Hey,
that.
we can't.
That's crazy.
A loss is a loss. A loss is a loss. We can't cry about the loss. The only thing we have to do is win. Decide, hey, let's get down, let's get back up, and let's fight again. My
Uh,
disappointment with Tim Tszyu was that he didn't signal any sign of rematch. He was talking about moving on to the next fighter. To the next fight, he was calling out Earl Spence. He was calling out Chance Crawford. He didn't not once said that I'll fight Fundora again. That's a
and
testament that
we'll
he didn't
see.
have the skills. He understood as a fighter that he didn't have the skills to beat that 6'5" man. And yes, he did
It's just crazy,
temper
Tony.
him a couple times, but at what cost? Because we're not in that ring. I saw those right punches, those left punches that he was taking from Fundora. At what cost? Right?
Yes, go
And then
flow.
he
Go
understood
flow.
that there's a possibility.
Excuse me, hold on. Go flow. Rematch is warranted, brother. I totally agree. It's just that I hope that he takes the rematch. You are 100% right on that.
I hope you should say I hope that he wants the rematch. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He didn't signal not one time during that press conference that he wanted to fight Fundora again. So that's what you should question.
And we'll see tomorrow. We'll see if they start speaking on rematches. Because I'd be surprised if Tszyu doesn't ask for a rematch. The way that fight ended, even the way that how everything went down, I would be surprised if he wouldn't have wanted a rematch for that fight.
Let me ask you, why did Tszyu call for a rematch immediately?
I don't know why he didn't. Probably because he lost a gallon of blood. His thought process ain't even right. You know what I'm saying? You lose that much blood coming out your forehead, you may not be asking the right questions either. Let's wait till tomorrow.
Because he lost a gallon of blood.
Let's wait till tomorrow where he gathers all his thoughts and gets everything back right. Yeah. We will see. Yeah. We will see.
I think it's because he understood that the skills. He had the will, but he didn't have the skill to beat a person of that magnitude. So he didn't want to go through He didn't want to go through it again. For us, we're on the outside. It was, hey man, you can do it. But he's on the inside. He's a very smart fighter. He's a very competitive person. He's just like his father, like Tszyu. He's driven, but he understands. Being that he's a boxer, he understands what he messed up. That's just like with Lomachenko. Lomachenko didn't want to fight David Haney anymore. He didn't want to fight him. He was talking about moving on to other fighters. Why? Because he understood that he didn't have the skills. He didn't want to have the skills or go through David Haney again because it was a very difficult fight for him. Same rules apply with Tszyu. He understood that Fundora was a very difficult fight. He was not only was he physically draining, he was mentally draining. The mental obstacles of always trying to figure out how do I get in and fight this 6'5" person. But one thing, like we said previously, he only had 12 days.
Yeah, but
how do you prepare to fight a 6'5" for 12 days? That's a disadvantage.
I don't think that his height was the problem. I don't think his height. I don't think his jab was the problem. I don't think any of that was the problem. I just think his vision was the problem. That's the only problem that I have. And if he doesn't get a rematch, or if he doesn't ask for a rematch, then I will agree with you to where I would question why that is. And hold on, let me just read some of these comments. Hold on, let me just read some of these comments out here. So Julian says Tim was smashing him up before the cut. Fundora won via elbow. Salute, Julian. Tony Comeback says,
two thumbs. Yeah.
He says, he told GoFlow, EJ destroys both Fundora and Tszyu. Huh. He's talking about Earl Spence, I'm assuming. EJ. I'm assuming EJ is Earl Spence. But
I don't know about that.
I think with the vision, I think that Tim Tszyu just hasn't really been tested yet. And I thought that this fight would have helped, at least build up his resume more. And it is a little bit more disappointing due to this injury, what caused the end results of this. That's what makes it.
That's what makes a great fighter a great fighter. How do you fight through injuries? Can you win through when you're drained? Can you win when you're in pain? That's what makes a great fighter. It reminds me of when Hagler fought Hearns, and then when Hagler found out that he was cut, automatically, and he saw the blood that was dripping down his eye, he went out and what did he do? He took out his tall, lengthy opponent. He took him out automatically. Now I ask you, why did Tim Tszyu do the same thing that Hagler did?
I don't think that there was. I don't think that there was nowhere near the same amount of blood. And typically what happens is, and you have to agree. Hold on, because you got to agree with this. Hold on. This is my goddamn show, and it's just something that I've always wanted to say. That I'm sorry, but you got to admit though that in most fights, when a fighter's cut man, corner man, they take care of it, and the blood eventually stops. A good corner man will always take care of the cut. But in this case, the cut was just way too deep. I'm telling you, dude had like 5 tablespoons of Vaseline just plopped there. and it still couldn't stop.
I was like, man,
it still couldn't
I was
stop.
trying to figure out if I was a good cut man, I'd fire my cut man first and foremost.
Yeah,
I would have had
couldn't.
some.
There's no way that you could.
I mean, because I mean, I would have fired my cut man. I would have because I heard they didn't have the proper tools to stop the equipment to stop the cut from bleeding.
I don't think that anybody.
Was saying that.
I don't know if you could. I don't know if the best cut man could have stopped that cut. It was too the cut was too deep. It was just way too deep.
And one of the announcers said that he was in a similar situation, and he said he was.
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't believe that he had that kind of cut.
And what he did, he said he took out his opponent. Now I say that why didn't Tszyu go out and take out his opponent? And the reason why, because he couldn't.
Now,
and I don't care. I mean, he probably.
And he tried after he suffered the cut. He tried to go out there and get the knockout, but I don't think that I don't think it was going to happen just that easy. I mean, Fundora ain't just like he ain't easy bait to knock out. But I think he did try to go for it. Once he got the cut, but I think that it was just too deep.
Mm-hmm.
I think the push was just too deep.
I think Fundora ate some of his punches. He ate them. He wasn't wobbled. No. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't the ropes. He ate him. He smiled too. He ate him and smiled.
Tony, we're gonna bring you on this show.
Hit me. All right, let's go.
Tony Squabbles, we're gonna bring you on this show because you are exactly right. Fundora was working the jab, but he wasn't popping the jab. He was pushing the jab.
Fundora was hitting him with that left. With that
his punches were so light.
Whenever he would lunge in.
How are you not able to finish?
Oh my gosh!
How are you not able to finish a bloodied, battered man if he's hitting him so hard? How can you not finish that?
And like others who was bloody, why was he able to finish Fundora? I mean, Fundora is no Thomas Hearns.
He's no
Hearns at all.
What I'm saying,
Harper got cut and he went and finished him.
But it was split. He won a split decision fight against a hobbled man early. That's all I'm saying. Like, you couldn't finish this man out. You couldn't take him out. You couldn't even really hurt him after him being bloodied from the second round. That's crazy.
I think being the testament to Fundora power, the testament to Fundora skills, is that Tszyu did not call him out for a rematch. We can say what we want to say. Tszyu had the intelligence.
We had to see what happened.
Hold on, he had the intelligence to call out Earl Spence. He had the intelligence and the wherewithal to call out Terrence Crawford, but he did not mention a Fundora name, and there was a reason behind that. Because he just got into a ring with him. He knew that it was more than the blood that was pouring from the top of his head that caused him to lose that fight. He knew that Fundora has skills that you and I are overlooking, and he knew that there's certain skills it is very hard to overcome. So and that's why he did not call him out for a rematch. He called out everybody else but the fighter that he just fought, and that speaks volumes from a fighter who was so-called an A-class fighter.
And we'll see, though. We'll see if they will rematch again. We don't know what the next fight will be. Just because you don't call a fighter out at the moment of the fight means nothing. He may have a rematch clause, which being that it's a title fight and he was a champion, more than likely there's probably a rematch clause. They typically are for title fights. And we'll see if he exercises it.
Why did he call it out immediately?
What do you? I don't think. I don't know why, but that doesn't. Just because he didn't call him out, don't mean that he's not gonna fight him next. You get that?
He didn't call out. He didn't call him out immediately. The same way George Foreman didn't call out for a rematch with Ali, because George Foreman said, "You ain't got to kick my ass twice." Let me know that. Hey,
he didn't. But that's not what happened. But that's not what happened. He didn't just get beat down by Fundora. There was no beat down in that fight.
I know he didn't even contest the judge's decision. When you don't fight and you don't, that you just like, you know what, man, I'm not gonna do this over again. I want to move on to something else. This guy's too tall. I don't want to go through this whole fight no damn giraffe. You know what I'm saying? I'm a
Call this
fucking,
man a
you know what I'm
giraffe. Stop calling this man a giraffe.
saying? Hey,
But
that's what he said. That he said that he said Fundora's a giraffe and he's a lion. You know what I'm saying? Well, the lion just got his ass kicked by a goddamn giraffe. So just being honest.
I don't think that I don't think that he's afraid to fight Fundora again. Like Fundora
I don't think
didn't
it's
dominate.
not about being afraid.
He didn't
I'm not
dominate
saying
that
that, Mike.
fight at all by any
I'm
stretch
not
of the
saying that.
imagination.
I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that he's afraid. Is that he doesn't have. He doesn't want to go through the whole the obstacles of fighting someone so tall.
No, if
He wants to go
if
to more of a traditional 6'5" is not normal
I
for a
would
person
agree
of his
with
weight
you.
class, and that wasn't it.
I would agree with you if Fundora dominated that fight. Like if Fundora just beat the brakes off of him and he was like, "I'm done. I don't want this anymore." I would agree with you, but I just don't think that's the case. You know, I don't think that Fundora did anything special in that ring.
It doesn't.
He didn't do anything. Hold on, he didn't do anything that made me say, "Wow, I want to see him fight." Insert the boxer next. I don't think he did that. He had a guy who couldn't see. He worked the jab. He kind of threw some light hooks. Like I said, he wasn't rocked. I never seen, Tszyu stumble back. I never seen him hurt. I didn't see any of that. I just saw him bloody from a previous fight.
See, the only fight that we see is the physical fight. We don't see the mental fight on how the boxers have to strategize different ways on how to attack somebody who is so not normal.
No, I get that, but it's
class.
just like what GoFlo just
so
said. This was not a unanimous decision. It was a split decision. And you had this man, you had this man head cracked in the second round, and you couldn't get a unanimous decision.
Mind you, Fundora was still bleeding from the nose and the mouth.
No. That's because he was continuously getting hit in the nose and the mouth during that fight.
But the whole thing is, actually, as a subscriber, the reason why he didn't call for Fundora's name for a rematch, or did not mention his name for rematch, because he understood that his skills and I'm not saying that it was just the mental obstacles of fighting someone of that height and length it takes a toll on you over a course of 12 rounds. He rather go through a slugfest with somebody around his height or a little higher, but somebody that's 6'5", you don't understand how he always have to continue to think. And you're subjective. I mean, other fighters had the same issues with him.
No, but it's also, though, it's not like just because you're the taller fighter, you have the advantage. Because what Tszyu was doing early off is, what happens now when I'm fighting from the inside? That's a disadvantage for a taller fighter. Taller fighter doesn't have, with all the arm length that he has, is once you start fighting on the inside, he can't throw the punches like he would normally want to throw the punches. So being tall isn't just this huge advantage that goes for you. There are some disadvantages too. And I think that he was suffering from those disadvantages early off. Like I said, what would have happened was he tested his chin early and he knew. Like if not for the cut, Tszyu could take his punches. Clearly he can take his punches. After he lose a pint of blood, get split in on the top of the head, and you can't even get a unanimous decision or a knockout, he can take his punch. Mm-hmm. And I think if they fought again, he would test his chin, take his punch, and eventually knock him out. That's what would have happened.
I disagree. I don't think he would knock out Fundora. I think because Fundora took a lot of his punches, and not once did he wobble him. He took him, he smiled. He took him, he said, "All right, let me roll this way." He took him and he gave him one back. Now, he hit Fundora with all his power, like your subscriber said. So he took it before. He already tasted it. So Fundora was like, "Hey, this is nothing new to me. All right, you hit me again.
Oh,
All right,
stop
I
it.
got hit again.
No, he
All
just
right.
I
Hold
can't
on,
hit
because
you
what?
accurately.
How many times? How many times? Remember, the percentage was even though Fundora threw more jabs, who landed more shots? Tszyu did, right? Tszyu. So he hit Fundora more than
He,
Fundora hit him.
yeah, he just couldn't
Yet,
see.
but
He
yet,
just
but
couldn't
yet,
see.
he didn't call for a rematch. Yet he lost the will. Yes, he lost the will to win. Even utter the word, let's rematch or let's fight again. Let's run it again. Let's run that back. You know, he don't want to do it anymore.
And we'll
I
see.
think
But
so.
I don't think that just because he didn't ask for the rematch that a rematch won't happen.
Okay.
You know.
Can I ask you a subscriber? Do you think why wouldn't a fighter call for a rematch if if the cut didn't happen, they would believe that they would have won the fight.
Go
And
Flow.
I
If you're still
believe
online, hold on. Go Flow. That's for you. If you're still online, that question is for you.
yes. So why would he not call him out if he thought that he can actually beat him again? If he thought he could beat him again, if he didn't get cut, why would he call him out?
I don't
I'm
think
asking
that.
you, the viewers, just
I
give
don't.
me the reason why he didn't call him out.
I don't think that has
You know what I'm
any
saying?
relevance
It has
on
a lot of relevance.
anything.
If you call out Errol Spence, he's your height. If you call out Terrence Crawford, he's your height. But you ain't calling out Shaquille O'Neal. You ain't calling on no goddamn giraffes, right? So the
I
giraffes, you're
don't
like,
think that.
I ain't gonna sit here.
I don't think his height. I don't think his height really played in such an advantage in this fight. Honestly, I don't think that it benefited
And
him much at all, like it should have. You know, again, only because of the blood in his eyes and he was visually impaired. Hey,
and
but
if you look at Tim Tszyu,
uh,
Mike, if you look at Tim Tszyu, he was trying to hit him in the body, and the reason why he was hitting him in the body, his intention was for that Fundora would conform and come down height, height wise. But regardless of the hits that Fundora still took to the body, he still will fight tall.
yeah,
His
against a
advantage.
bloody man who couldn't see. Damn it! But hey, we hit the hour mark. We're gonna wrap it up. We will be back on next week. Talk about some more boxing. But let me know in the comments
Yes,
what you
sir.
think. You know, let me know how wrong Marcus is on this topic and how right I am. So be sure.
Subscribe, click like, share. We appreciate you. If you want to comment, leave a comment. If you disagree with me, tell me you disagree with me. If you agree with me, agree with me. But if you
Man,
another question, I'm
kick
gonna ask you
rocks.
once again. Tell me why Tim Tszyu did not call out Fedora and he called out the other fighters. Tell me the reason why. What was his reason? That's
All
it.
right, we out. Shout out to
We out.
Jackie Peer, Tony Squabbles, Go Flow, Julian. Appreciate the comments. Until next time, we are out.
Peace.